What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. And I wanted to do a kind of fresh take, my own personal take, which is how we can manifest faster, how we can really speed up our manifestation practice by understanding Stoicism, by using Stoicism. So, the first point, and I have some notes here that I'm going to get into, but manifesting is really about how to control your internal state, because it's an inward out approach, right? As within, so without, as above, so below. We've heard those things before from the Kabbalion, where attention goes, energy flows, all these different sayings. It really has to do with us. It's not about controlling our external circumstances, or as some people in the Neville Goddard community, everyone is you pushed out and people don't have free will. We got to get away from that type of thinking, because it's not about controlling somebody else. What we find is when we are able to cultivate this kind of inner equilibrium that I've talked about on this channel before, there are techniques that you can use which will influence others, but you need to be foremost influencing yourself. Anybody that has ever achieved any big success in terms of influencing others, first and foremost, has a command over their inner state, their internal state, their emotional state as well. This is something that I learned firsthand from selling, because as soon as I ran into situations when I was doing sales, door-to-door sales, to be exact. And I had situations where I would run up to somebody's door. I wasn't physically running, I guess that's the wrong word, but I would walk up to somebody's doorstep, knock on the door. They were extremely rude, right? Yelling at my face, slamming the doors in my face, using foul language and stuff towards me. Well, if I took that on, if I allowed that to affect my internal state, it was guaranteed that I wouldn't be able to sell any more product that day, right? Because once you're put off kilter emotionally, your ability to influence reality, your ability to affect those around you, it just decreases by magnitudes. You're not going to go up to somebody and sell them on an alarm system or whatever it might be, or even your ideas, or even on your ways of thinking by like some sort of pity thing. They're not going to take pity on you and say, oh yeah, I'll buy what you're selling because I feel bad for you because you're clearly in emotional distress. That's not how it works, right? And it doesn't work like that either when it comes to our goals, when it comes to our manifestations or our communication with people. So it's not about this external control over the reality. But we find paradoxically that when we are entering into this state of inner equilibrium, where we are cultivating this inner alignment with ourselves, that paradoxically, that is when we are able to influence the external reality. Now, here's what creates unhappiness, and that can be ulterior motives. So the example of this could be you're manifesting to get some stuff, to change your circumstances and other people so that you can feel better. As soon as you take on this kind of outward-inward approach, now you're allowing your internal state to be flummoxed all the time by your ups and downs in your external reality. There's always going to be something to complain about. Even when you buy that brand new Range Rover, somebody's going to get dirt on it. Somebody's going to scratch it. Somebody's going to slam a door open into it. It doesn't matter. You could be living what you perceive to be your absolute 10 out of 10 dream life. You could be dating a 10 out of 10 model, or if you're a girl, the richest, most handsome guy that you can imagine, and there's still going to be issues. There's still going to be things that they do that piss you off. There's still going to be things that they do that annoy you. So by taking things off the pedestal, the reason I use the example of the relationship is a lot of times people will put people on a pedestal, but we do the same thing with our goals as well. By de-pedestalizing the goal, by acknowledging that, look, it's just another thing. It's just another experience. It's just somebody that I'm having and sharing in my life. But I'm also providing value to them as well. I deserve to have amazing people in my life, whether it is a partner, whether it is a business partner, whether it's friends. Because I know, and I have this self-belief and self-trust that I've cultivated within myself to know that I'm a good person, to know that there's no reason I am not enough, really, right? So as soon as you kind of drop that idea that by going for the external thing, that's how you're going to fulfill the cup within. First, the cup within needs to be overflowing, right? And that's when your cup is overflowing, then that becomes attractive. Then that becomes magnetic. And you can't help but to attract not only people to you, but circumstances and goals and things begin to work in your favor. That is the magic of this practice. Once your cup begins to fill and overflow with your feelings of self-trust, feelings of self-appreciation, feelings of belief that you can do and that you are put on this planet to bring things into reality, that which you want, that your desires are given to you for a reason, right? That you've been blessed by the Creator. This God source energy flows through you. This divine energy leads you towards achieving and accomplishing these beautiful things that you have the impulses and the desire to create. Then you are stepping into this idea where you are now allowing the cup to overflow. You're now giving instead of taking. That other type of energy is a taking energy. And so regardless, again, whether you are interacting with people or whether you are trying to get some sort of result, that taking energy from the universe doesn't react very well to that. It reacts to this giving energy. It reacts with the law of reciprocation. It reacts with that law of correspondence, which is now that you are giving, the universe gives you back in turn. So, there's that quote from the Bible, he that hath not will be taken away from. He that have will be given even more, right? So the issue is that your emotions don't necessarily come from your circumstances or from other people. They come from your thoughts. They come from your internal dialogue. That's why I kind of harp on this idea of your internal narrative, which really, robotic affirmations has become a trend, but it's also is a powerful tool to shift that narrative. It has been for eons. As long as people have learned to be able to use the human language, giving yourself suggestions. Robotic affirmations used to be called auto-suggestions, right? Auto-suggestions. Repetitively, robotically suggesting to yourself what it is that you want to focus on rather than what you do not want to focus on is a guaranteed way to begin to shift that internal dialogue. The only people that this doesn't work for are people that are feeling this big, massive amounts of internal resistance while they're affirming the opposite. But by affirming that thing, they're making themselves feel even worse because it's reinforcing the fact that they don't have the thing. But I have tools for that. I have a book coming out. You can download it. Click the link down below to download the free ebook, which will take you to a link where you will now be added to a list that I will be giving the new ebook for half off once it's out and available. Within that ebook, I have many tools that you can use to more gently suggest the mind. If you've been struggling with robotic affirming, if you've been having a lot of resistance in this practice, if you've been engaged in it, but you're not seeing success with it, click the link down below and you'll be added to the list. There's tons of different ways and techniques that I've learned over the past 10 years plus learning about this stuff that will allow you to get those suggestions or those affirmations, whatever you want to call them, to allow them to seep into the subconscious, slide past that gatekeeper so that that guard is asleep and you get to imprint the subconscious with that new suggestion, with that new dialogue that you want to imprint it with, okay? So the issue is that, right, your emotions come from this internal narrative that you are essentially regurgitating, repeating day in and day out. It's this internal dialogue that's going on. It's always happening. You are always thinking thoughts. The mind doesn't ever turn itself off, right? So when you focus on what you want, you feel better. When you focus on what you don't want, or you invalidate or judge things, or you condemn things, you feel worse. So if you focus on all the lack that you're having, if you're focusing on how you hate the curtains over there, or how you hate the wallpaper, or how you hate how that person's acting, it's going to cause you to feel worse. It's going to cause your internal dialogue to go back into that zone, right? Where it is, the focus is shift to the glass being half empty rather than half full. What you need to do is you need to focus on feeling better for its own sake because you care about how you feel. You kind of put that at the forefront. And I do, it's not just about how you feel, because people get the word feelings, when you get so caught up with the feelings, it becomes this very emotional based thing where it's like, it's always about my feelings. It's not always about feelings per se as awareness. What are you aware of? If you are aware constantly that the curtains are not how you like them, that the curtains are black and you want white curtains, or that the wallpaper is this way and you don't like it. If you are constantly aware of that, it's going to create those negative stories, those negative thought loops. Your thought loops feed back into your feelings. So it's a feelings into the thoughts, into the feelings, and it's a recursive loop. It keeps going on and on and on, right? You either need to check it with the thoughts. That's how you can use the tools of internally shifting the narrative, using robotic affirming, whatever you want to call it, autosuggestion, whatever you want to call it. Or you can go straight to the feeling. That's when practices like what Tony Robbins talks about, change your state. He gets very emphatic. Amy Cuddy talks about doing a power pose. You can do breath work. You can go outside. You can hit the gym. Do something to get into your body so that you begin to feel better. You begin to become aware of positivity because you are in the process. You get into a flow state of doing something enjoyable, and that gets you out of this negative thought loop that's recurring over and over and over again, right? So that's another way of doing that. But when you focus on yourself, you bring back your awareness into within yourself, and then begin to reclaim that authority over your thoughts and your feelings, because they're inextricably linked, right? When you begin to feel better, you're going to begin to have better thoughts. That's why your diet's also relevant and important. Everything is connected. The mind body is one thing, right? So, whether it is that you are literally using the techniques that I've outlined in this book, whether you are going and doing Wim Hof breathing, it's all going to have a positive impact. Whether you are also making sure that you're getting enough vitamin D, enough nutrients in your body, it's all going to have this effect, right? You're going to begin thinking better. You're going to have better energy. You're not going to be so sluggish in the morning, especially now that we're getting into the winter seasons, the winter months. A lot of places around the world, you get less sunlight, right? It's going to affect, a lot of people have this seasonal affective disorder. So it all goes together. You can't just ignore one thing. If anybody's telling you that, oh, you need to just do this one thing, but everything else doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what you eat, it doesn't matter your sleep, it doesn't matter. That's just, right there that they're not telling you the truth. It's not true. Everything is holistic. It's all about everything combined. The compound effect is real. So once we have a good routine, once we are taking care of our health, our body, our mind, now we are able to feel good. We begin to feel empowered. We begin to look ourselves in the mirror and feel good about ourselves. We begin to tell ourselves along the path that we're doing this new story that we are telling ourselves, that we can do this thing, that we are good enough, that we are capable, and you have the freedom and the ability to think any thoughts of your choosing. You have the ability to dismiss any thoughts that you want to from your mind. You have the ability to insert any thought of your choosing, right? We have this ability, but the human body, the human organism tends to forget this. We forget. I don't know why it is like the way that it is, but that's another reason why it's so helpful to write down your goals, to write these things down, to read them every morning, your affirmations, right? Because you forget for some stupid ass reason. Us as human beings, even if we have this big goal, we'll go through it, we'll do our affirming practice, but then we fall off of it and we literally forget what it is that we wrote down. It's kind of mind-boggling and baffling, but that's just how it is. That's how a lot of people talk about this. And if you don't keep a consistent practice of looking in the mirror and repeating your affirmations, or writing them down every morning, or reading them from your journal every morning, whatever the practice might be, that's why consistency matters as well. And by feeding yourself with the correct inputs, because the environment tends to be mostly negative, if you start watching the news and you start listening to what Sally and Susan are talking about in the gossip, the office drama, and you start watching Love is Blind on TV, now all of a sudden you got all this garbage going on in your mind. Your body, you're not going to feel as good because you're going to be thinking through this lens that says, people are kind of scumbags and the world is in chaos, and there's all these negative things happening on the news, and the economy's going down the shithole and all this stuff, right? So it's our responsibility to take back control over our own mind, so we're not getting programmed by somebody else. We're not taking on somebody else's programming and then allowing them to just program us. We don't want to be sheep, right? We want to be the sheepdog, or we want to be the for our thoughts, right? For what it is that we want to bring in. We want to take control and command, because that is the power that we've been given. To not use this power is to really just not embrace what it means to even be alive. You could even go that far as to say that, by not taking control over our own internal dialogue and our own narratives. because that is what is creating. That is the lifeblood of our lives. These are the thoughts that are going on inside of our head, which are, again, creating the feelings in our body, and it's a feedback loop, right? So if we want to be these versions of ourselves, which are capable, which are able, which are doing and being who we want to be, we begin to take back that control. Now, when you view manifesting through the lens of it being a way to understand and work with your emotions, your feeling states, and your thoughts, your internal narrative, and really the energy, because at the heart of all of this, everything's made of energy, right? Nikola Tesla talks about this. All these quantum physicists, we know that's true, right? Even this table, this lamp right here, all this stuff is vibrating energy. We don't really, as human beings, our senses are very limited. What we can perceive with our hearing and our eyesight and all of that, it's only like this much of and there's so much that exists on this spectrum, right? We know that dogs can hear better than we can. They can smell more than we can, right? There's other animals that can perceive more of this reality than we can, right? Where our bandwidth is very limited. But when we accept that we are able to, that the energy, by using our thoughts, our internal representations, and our feeling state, that is how we manipulate this energy. That is how we direct the energy that is the undercurrent of what is going on. That is really the innermost layer of what's going on. And these are the tools that we know how to use. Now we can use them for that end. You begin to change your reality. You begin to impact reality. And you can clearly feel results. You can clearly feel a difference in that energy within yourself from just a couple minutes of focusing on, of focusing on what you want, right? Of intending. You get into the mirror, you begin to do this practice, and you begin to immediately feel different. That's one of my favorite practices, actually, because it's somatic, it's physiological, and it's also thought. You're commanding, you're telling yourself, you're instructing yourself on what it is that you want to think, replacing that garbage story that was going on before with what it is that you want, the story that you want to tell yourself, as well as getting in the mirror and stating it and commanding it. And with your body language, getting your body involved, taking deep breaths. Now your body and your mind and your whole entire organism is really, really changing. The energy is really shifting. You don't have to wait for, this change. Like, you can literally get up. That is the power that we have right now. Get up right now, go into the mirror and start yelling at yourself in the mirror. Tony Robbins talks about how he used to do this on his way to, when he was first started off, coaching people and things. He would be driving on the highway, in the LA highway, and he would say to himself in the mirror, I have it written down here. Let me find it for you guys real quick, because it's an excerpt in my book here. And I want to share it with you guys because it's cool. It's just it's evidence of what I'm talking about here. He would get into the mirror while he's driving, stuck in traffic, and he said people would look at him like he looked like he was crazy, and he would say, I now command my subconscious mind to direct me in helping as many people as possible today by giving me the strength, the emotion, the persuasion, the humor, the brevity, whatever it takes to show these people and get these people to change their lives now. And, this obviously resonated for him. And by the time he would get there, he would be like completely on fire. And he would do exactly what he's saying. He would have all this strength, all that internal resourcefulness to literally influence people and change their lives. That's why he's achieved as much success as he has. He started off kind of hypnotizing people, I think, or maybe I'm confusing him with somebody else. But he started off this practice and expanded it because he was really getting success. There's tons of people out there that have used Tony Robbins' work and his training that have, can testify to its results. He also talks about change your state, just like Neville Goddard does, right? This was a practice that he used to change his state. So that's what you can do. We all have the power to do that at any given moment. If you have roommates or family members, go out into your car and do it in the mirror, right? Just get charged up with that energy and just do it. Anyways, guys, much love as always. This is, like I said, it's one of my favorite practices. It's called the mirror technique is one way when you look at yourself in the eyes and you do it. And Claude Bristol wrote about it a lot. But I had been using this technique before I ever read about Claude Bristol using it. I had another mentor that told me about this and instructed me to do this before, I really knew, before I'd really gone down the rabbit hole studying it per se, right? But it works. I can testify to the fact that it works. I use this exact process for many different things in areas of my life, and I talked about that, and I go into that in the book. But with that being said, this is how you really command. At the beginning of this book, at the beginning of this post, I said, how do we become stoic? And I guess I've kind of diverted a little bit, because I'm telling you, you go in with like enthusiasm. Stoicism focuses on that. It focuses on the neutrality. But you can also cultivate, funny enough, neutrality by commanding, by saying, I command my subconscious mind to do this for me. The issue where we get stuck is where we think that we can't, or we get overattached. But by getting into your body and convincing yourself that you can do something, you can actually achieve a state of pretty calm neutrality towards what it is that you're doing. You can actually achieve a state, again, also where you begin to do it, to embody it on a physical level. And that will also reduce that inner tension, because now you're like, oh yeah, well, I'm doing this thing. I'm becoming it. I'm walking this path right now. There's nothing for your logical mind to then object to when it says, oh yeah, well, I said I'm going to do this, or I said I'm going to have this, but I'm just sitting here. I'm just sitting on the couch. I haven't seen any results, right? Again, it's not to say that we want to be looking for the results, but it's to say that we want to be taking steps towards our goal on the path there, because we're also going to gain the skills. We begin to walk the path is going to be revealed. So yeah, guys, with that being said, I hope that this has been helpful. There was another post in here that I wanted to share, actually, which is a nice way to kind of round this out. Because when I talk about, taking steps towards your goal and stuff, I wanted to share this. Because I feel like this adds to the conversation. It was a post that I discovered, and it's literally, there's this guy named Chase Austin who wrote this. And I silly enough, I had closed the tab on it, but I think I'll be able to find it if I just... Here it is. All right, so here's the quote. This is exactly what I needed to read. This is what somebody said in the manifestation subreddit. So, you've already manifested the reality you want, but you're not willing to step into it. Manifestation happens almost immediately, but it is your fear of leaving the current reality that is stopping you from stepping into the new one. You've already manifested the pathway to your desires, but you fear becoming the person capable of maintaining the lifestyle these desires require. You still have to change internally to be able to handle this new reality. You want millions of dollars, but if it doesn't come through the lottery or inheritance, you still have to perform and do the work for it. The universe may provide that new career opportunity, but this means that you now have to perform at a higher level. A lot of people think their manifestations aren't working because of visualization, affirmations, or whatever, but really the new reality is already right in front of you. You're just blocking it out of your perception because you fear change. And even when your dream life is right in front of you, you hide from it. Remember the creation of Adam? God extends his hand, but Adam must meet him halfway. The universe offers, but you must accept. This is what you were doing. The universe is providing for you at all times. You're just refusing to step into this new version of yourself. What you need is the courage to embrace the adventure that will be full of anxiety, risks, and fear, but also new friends, knowledge, and a deeper understanding of yourself. Step into the moment. And yeah, this right here, I think, is a sentiment that a lot of people that are actually doing and being will agree with. You see that also anybody that is embodying this kind of state of the wish fulfilled, or that is seeing these results, they are doing the thing. They are being that person. They may be telling you that you don't need to take action, but if you look at their own action, that's exactly what they're doing. So I don't know, they're either on purpose, they're lying, or they just simply somehow have mentally compartmentalized, thinking that, oh yeah, I can, you don't need to do anything, even though I'm doing things to create this result, right? So anyways, guys, much love as always. Drop this with a like, hit me with a comment, let me know your thoughts down below. I think that by understanding this quote, really what he's saying here is, I would agree. I think that a lot of the times it's the fear of success that people have, because they're afraid of, well, now I'm going to have this higher standard for myself. Now I'm going to have to, be and rise to the occasion to be this version of myself. Because most people, some people want to manifest the lottery and not do anything. But I would argue that the vast majority of people, they want to accomplish their dreams. It's something that you want to do, right? You want to be an actor. You want to be an author. You want to be a high-level athlete. You want to be an entrepreneur. Any of these ideas, any of these goals, right? Even if you want to be a spouse, you want to be a stay-at-home mom or something, it's going to require that you step up and take responsibility and take the bull by the horns and actually become that person, become that amazing mother that is able to, cook nutritious meals, that's able to plan out your kid's day, that's able to maybe homeschool them if you so desire, but figure all that stuff out. It's a lot. It's a big job. It's a big, massive undertaking. You don't just manifest that your kids' meals just appear, right? You don't manifest that, you're homeschooling them, right? These are all these things require action. They require steps. They require a strategy and implementation. And so does anything worthwhile in life, guys. So anyways, guys, I'm not going to drag this on any longer. I hope this was helpful. Hit this with a like, hit me with a subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.